Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the A3U Review.
In this episode, we're doing a comparison between two versions of the FansToys Scoria from the Diebots line.
And we're also going to be doing a review on the FansProject Function X-08 Crox figure. My name's Alex.
My name's Chris.
And you're watching the A3U Review. Alright, we're going to start off this episode with a comparison between two different Scoria figures from FansToys. But turns out that these aren't the only two. These are two exclusive versions. There are more, right, Boris?
Yeah, there was a re-release of the, and it's kind of recolored a little bit more, so it's supposed to be just a better paint application. And then of course there's the original Scoria.
Yes.
And they're all FT04 and appended by a letter. So of course the FT04G.
Yeah.
And that's the G2 version, G2 colors.
Yeah.
And then the FT04D, which is the Diaclone colors. And then there was the 04T, which had a little bit of a different paint scheme. A little bit more, I would say, detailed in terms of its paint. We don't have that one here right now because I wanted to focus on the two exclusive ones. A lot of people always ask us at the store, like, what's the deal with these? What do they even look like? Yeah. I'm hard pressed to open up one because they are limited. I mean, they even come with this card that shows you the limited number on it and everything. But I couldn't resist. I wanted to see the color for myself in person, so now we want to show you guys. Yeah, and well, first impression, this guy looks like a Christmas tree. Yeah, the G2 colors unfortunately were like Christmas colors. But I mean, the whole G2 color scheme, they were pretty wacky, and they used a lot of these clashing color harmonies. Anyone that owns any G2 figures or that was into all of the G2 era, they know what I'm talking about. The only problem with this color scheme is that it reminds you so much of Christmas. I mean, I think if the clashing color scheme was just different colors clashing, maybe it wouldn't remind you as much of this whole Christmas thing. But in terms of the actual coloring, it's actually quite nice, and it's quite nicely done. And it's great to see Scoria in this color scheme. What do you think?
You know what? I think that if they just dialed it down a little bit so that it's not so bright and out there, I think it would not be that bad. Like if this red was not so red, or like not so bright red, and this green was not too I guess that color, a little bit more darker or something, I think it might look okay.
I think if you compare it to the actual green in the G2, you'll notice that it is slightly a tint lighter. When I look at it again, it's not necessarily that it's brighter, it's actually just lighter than I feel what the original G2 was. Just, it was slightly darker. They actually did quite a good job of matching it, considering. But if I'm just looking at Scoria itself and having it reimagined with these color, I think they applied it in very good spots, and it's actually way more impressive when you actually take it out of the box and you're able to look at it. You really gotta see it in person to really appreciate it. Even pictures, I mean, depending on your monitor, it's gonna be different colors, and when you're looking at something like G2 colors, you really gotta appreciate the green that they put on it. So, enough said about that. I mean, what do you think about the blue?
I gotta say that it looks kind of plain to me. The gray is something we've seen many times, and then you put in the blue, and then I understand, it's referencing Diaclone, but still, the way I feel about it is, it just feels kind of boring, especially when you compare it to this. And I think that when I compare the two, it's gonna be kind of weird, but I would prefer this one more, even though it feels kind of weird. I guess I'm so tired of seeing so many this color scheme over and over and over again from so many different third-party companies, to the point where this is a breath of fresh air, even though it is these colors.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you on the breath of fresh air thing.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are doing the G2 era.
Yeah.
And I think it is definitely an acquired taste, but it's a very, very, very cool era for the toys.
Yeah.
If I was just looking at it compared to the actual original Diaclone colors,
Yeah.
I think they actually pulled it off quite nicely.
Oh yeah. This one is quite accurate to, you know, the original.
Yeah, it does come with shipped with the blue head that you see there. But of course, just like the original Scoria, there is the red face that comes with extra red face and some extra face plates. But yeah, you'll notice that they've done a good job of painting this brilliant silver that's on the...
The silver looks good.
Yeah, it contrasts really nicely with the dark blue. And maybe it doesn't come through enough on the camera, but this is actually a really nice metallic.
Yeah.
That's on the chest area here.
Yeah.
The metallic blue really does give it a little bit of distinction on the chest area.
Yeah.
And overall, I think the harmony works with Diaclone. And then you'll see that there's some weapons differences as well.
I like the fact that they changed up the weapons. I mean, these are the same, but then, of course, this one you have a chrome and clear, and then red chrome and clear orange.
Yeah, this matches a lot more with this, and I believe it's, I wish I had the original Scoria, I never actually kept that one, but I believe it's similar to the original Scoria sword as well.
Yeah.
But this is definitely different. I like it that they made that change. It definitely works nicely with the whole color change and the Diaclone color. The other thing that I always get asked is, do they still come with the same pieces that the original Scoria does, like the little heels for Grimlock? In case you didn't get the original Scoria and you were actually purposely waiting for the Diaclone, they still come with the feet.
Yep.
So no worries there. And I mean, obviously, if you are collecting the FansToys line, they are also going to come out with their own Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah, that's right.
So if, you know, you want that, and you want something that scales perfectly, that might be something to wait for. Yeah. Otherwise, if you have a Masterpiece scale Grimlock, add those little feet to it, and it'll kind of heighten it a little bit more, because otherwise it's a little bit short.
Yeah.
Guys. Which one would you go for if you had to choose?
I think because, like I said, this one looks kind of simple, and we've seen this sort of thing before. I'm gonna have to go with this. There's some things that do look pretty good to me. Like, I actually kind of like these chrome red horns.
I know.
And how it goes well with the chrome red eyes.
Very, very nice. And it's details like that that, you know, make this figure really, really cool. I mean, not to knock this. This is definitely, you know, if you're more of a, like the conservative color scheme.
Yeah.
It's something that really matches through and through with contrast and everything.
Yeah.
This is definitely the one for you.
Yeah.
But I think I'm with you, Alex. I like that this is just wildly different.
Yeah, it's very, very different.
I love the G2. I'd love to see more G2. I'd love to see more third-party companies doing G2 color schemes with everything, and just have a very colorful display of third-party products.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my 2 cents on it. But not to knock the Diaclone.
Yeah.
Very nice still.
I think the blues are done really, really well on this. Like, you got this blue and then you got this metallic blue, and it goes well together, especially with that silver piece in the chest. So, I mean, I think both of them have their qualities. It really depends on what you're into.
And then, I mean, I just have like a comparison. This is the recent Sever that came out with FansToys too.
Look at the size of this guy.
You can just see like the scale and how well everything, you know, starts coming together.
Yeah.
Those of you that have been true to this line and carried everything in this line, it's quite nice when you start seeing them together. I don't have the Soar with me right now, but it probably doesn't even fit in the frame right now. But yeah, just to give you kind of a feel for all of these.
I like that there's a uniformity to them. Like, the way they look is their own style. It's just like FansProject's Lost Exorem. It's their own style.
Yeah, and I mean, they really paid homage to, I think, the
original properties.
The original property designs.
Yeah.
They don't try to go too outlandish, which is good for the the purists.
Yes.
Right? And I think in terms of as lines go, these guys definitely stick, you know, truest to the original line. So I mean that's ever. And then of course we have FansProject.
Oh yeah,
over
there we
here
go.
too.
Yeah.
You want to push that over just to show
Yeah.
they had their Diaclone line
Yeah.
as well, and you can see the color schemes are very similar. Of course, FansProject has their own very unique design.
Yeah.
That's why I love the Lost Exo realm.
Yeah.
But scale-wise, I mean, it doesn't match in comparison to the scale of this.
Yeah, that's quite a big difference.
Yeah. So people ask me, you know, why are you paying that much for, you know, a dinosaur? I mean, like, look at the size comparison and the size difference.
Yeah.
And you gotta realize this is all plastic. This has a substantial amount of die cast in it, which gives it really good weight.
Yeah.
And they didn't overdo it, so the weight balance is actually very nice on their figures as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, so there you have it. For all of you undecided or just haven't had a chance to see it out of the box, you know,
Here's
these
your
are the
chance
ones.
to take a good look at it. And if you are still unsure, ask yourself how much you like each one more. Do you like G2 more or do you like Diaclone more? The choice is yours. Right now we are going to take a look at the new FansProject Function X-08 Crox.
He's got a lot of nice gold on him. That's why I say that.
Oh yeah, check out the back.
Yeah, so let's just take a quick look at the color aesthetics and everything. And I
Yeah.
love the gold metallic highlights on here. It's not too flashy, but it gives it that little like fanciness.
Yeah, for sure.
And it works in really nice with, you know, a color that I would never really care for on a robot as much, which is like this kind of like, what is that? It's like a pink. It's not even a pink. It's like a reddish, pinkish.
It's like, yeah, a light maroon. I don't know.
This was actually done really, really nicely, and the dark green really works with this color.
This is where I think that green and red goes well together. You know, we were talking about the Scoria, the FansToys Scoria, the G version, right? Well, that was also green and red. Now here's a green and red that actually looks good.
I think because, you know, this isn't trying to be clashing. It
Yeah.
is trying to be harmonious.
Yes.
And they have found a tint that actually does work.
It works.
Like, this is a much darker green, so
Yes.
I know that's probably why
Yeah.
you're drawn more to it. And then instead of being such a bright red,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a mixed red, so
Yeah.
it does have like a kind of like a magenta kind of hue to it as
Yeah.
well. It's more magenta. And that whole tone of it
Yeah.
really works. And it actually works really nicely with the gold, as I showed earlier.
Yeah.
On the back here. You can really see that it really does kind of pop out on this color. And then the contrast with the white legs and everything is actually, at first I was not liking it, but it's growing on me.
I think the colors work, the proportions are great. This weapon is totally badass. And check this out, I love the elbow blade. You know,
Yes.
little details like that.
And it's done in gold as well.
Yeah.
So it really makes it pop out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, in general, because of how the colors have been done, it hides a lot of this kibble
Yeah.
really well. Like even the green feet here are actually hidden on the arms.
Yeah.
But because of the coloring and where its placement is, it looks like almost like a plate of some sort.
Yeah.
Instead of just the foot.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, really, really cool.
I think the only downside that I can think of is the lack of articulation on the wrist. You know how a typical robot would be able to do that.
Yes.
This one lacks it, but it still does make up for it with a little bit of a forearm, a swivel. So
yeah, and this is actually very kind of classic of this Function X line.
Yeah.
There are a few figures that don't have that.
Yeah.
That kind of articulation, even on the forearms. So, I mean, I'll show off the rest of the line after, so you guys can see it all together. But realistically, you know, with that said, there is actually a lot of articulation in the feet.
Yeah.
So it's able to pose really well. Utilizes the front of the foot as kind of your swivel.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because it actually goes side to side like that.
Yeah.
And then the heel comes out a little bit.
Yeah.
So you can, you know, move it forward a little bit more.
Yeah.
And really have that balance.
Yeah.
So I really like it, and I actually like how the feet were repurposed like this, because this is actually part of the Crocs feet.
Yeah.
In alt mode, and when you take a look at how it kind of like comes into play, it forms the feet really nicely here in robot mode.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll show that off when we transform it into Crocodile mode.
Sure.
So yeah, why don't we do that first?
Let's do it. And here is Crox in his crocodile mode, and I gotta say that this is one good-looking robot crocodile.
Just love how this whole thing came together when we were transforming it.
Yeah.
The legs were really cool transformation. It, you know, the kind of the hinge or the swivel that it uses to articulate when it's in robot mode also becomes now the kind of like the thighs for you know, how the actual legs in crocodile mode work, and then the rest of the body comes together to create this nice kind of spiky, just like crocodile.
I love that. I love how that came together like that, where you got these spikes.
It's also a great homage in terms of the color scheme and everything to the original. Yeah. Without, you know, necessarily, like I said, doing verbatim to the whole piece. Again, the gold highlights show up here and there, which is really nice. And then I like the actual cockpit.
The fact that he can ride in there too.
For the little guy, there we go. I mean, it's very cool. He's got kind of like a very cool, like...
It's like a cockpit.
Yeah, exactly. A very cool cockpit for him to sit in. Yeah, the head itself, once transformed, also is very interesting. He's got the spikes on the feet now, because it's part of the head. Yeah. And I actually really like the coloring. Definitely one of the more fun ones that I've had a chance to play with at this point. And yeah, I mean, nothing beats like this crocodile mode. It really looks good in its alt mode. And there's actually a lot of articulation. In the feet itself. Yeah. So you can do different poses with it. Yeah, it's not like you're just placing it on there and then that's it. You can actually do some stuff with this guy. Yeah, the front feet have ball joints on them, so you can kind of fan them out a little bit more. The back feet don't have that. However, what they do have is the ability for the thigh to kind of rotate and it swivels in and out. Yeah. So it's almost like hydraulics. Yeah, it gives it a little bit more play and a little bit more dynamic so that you can actually do some interesting poses with even the creature mode. Yeah. And then of course the tail can wag. Yeah, there you go. It's not just one straight line, so you can do that as well, which is a really nice touch. Yep. And of course, you know, a beast is not a complete beast without chomping action. Yeah, exactly. So what a great alt mode. Absolutely. I absolutely love it. The teeth and everything in the front, how they really give this a very nice crocodile look. Your mech crocodile. Yeah. Well, you have seen it in robot mode, you've seen it in crocodile mode. Let's give it a score. For aesthetic, I am going to give it a 9. This is a very good looking robot, and also its alt mode looks good, and I like the colors, and very proportionate, and basically I like everything that I see. I'm gonna give it a 9 too. Coloring, the proportions, everything down to the kibble that it's hidden, it really looks good. Contrast is good, and it stays true to the original homage while still not taking it completely literally. For playability, I'm going to give it an 8, and that's because I love posing this guy, and it's mainly because of what they did with the feet. This thing that they did with the feet, it's very different from what I'm used to, but it allows for a lot of great poses, and of course you have a lot of articulation in the arms, and it's a very fun figure to play with. I'm gonna give it a 9. I agree with a lot of the posability of it. Anything that has a transforming head or, you know, weapon just adds to that kind of fun factor. Always loved Headmasters and Brainmasters in Target Masters when I was a kid. This is awesome for that.
For innovation, I am giving him a 9. We've seen a lot of Function X robots that transform into like planes and jets and sci-fi aircraft. But this is something different. I mean, he transforms into a crocodile, and the way all the parts go together was something that I thought was very, very different from what I'm used to. So a 9 for that.
I'm gonna give it an 8 only because there have been some really outstanding transformations in the Function X line, such as Smart Robin. So not to knock the transformation on this is really good, especially where the legs come together. When they're actually transforming, you realize just how smart it is. It really, forming the legs into the tail was really interesting to see a lot of the pieces come together. But I do have to say, the problem is that there have been other things that came out in this line. So now it's set the bar a little bit higher, unfortunately. So I do have to give it an 8 in context to the rest of the line.
So my overall score is 8.67.
And my overall score is 8.67. This is a very, very good figure.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're a fan of Headmasters or whatever, FansProject, this is a definite must-buy.
Must have. And of course, if you are a fan of the Function X line, you have to get this guy. And you know what? Maybe we should show the viewers what the rest of them look like together.
Yeah, I mean, you really got to see it to really appreciate it. So let's do that. This is virtually the whole line of Function X.
Wow.
Yeah, the only thing I'm missing, I think, is the most recent Singapore exclusive, which is the Optimus Prime colors of the Crox. But you know, that one's pretty hard to come by. Hopefully one day I'll be able to get it. But I just want to display them all together. It's an amazing line.
This is impressive. I mean, wow. I mean, they already look so good as robots on their own, but when you put them together, this is a really, really good looking series. It looks great.
Yeah, definitely. You know, if you're a FansProject fan, this is definitely, in my opinion, one of the series that is kind of a must that you gotta have.
Absolutely.
This and the Warbot line have been excellent. There have also been a lot of stuff done for the Causality line, of course, which is great, but in terms of being the most extensive, I would say this and the Warbot line really bring it together, because they just have so many pieces that kind of give it this huge breadth of robots.
I just want to say, Boris, you are out of your mind.
Yeah, I know.
Where do you find the room for these guys?
I don't even have room. I'm gonna have to start sleeping with these robots.
Yep.
Yeah, it's it's a lot.
Yeah.
But you know, it's a sickness, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
There you have it.
FansProject, Function X line. The robots I'm going to be sleeping with tonight, so there you go.
And that's our episode for today. We hope you enjoyed it.
If you have any questions or feedback about this episode, let us know in the comment section below.
And as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, Ages 3 and Up, and also follow us on Twitter at Ages 3 and Up. We'll see you next time.